Sorry, I'm still UMassed up. Hey, Jen.
Thank you very much. I did try getting into the meeting again, and I still can't get in there. So thanks, Julie.
No problem.
All right, so there are 3 of us, so we have a quorum. And Trevor, you're taking minutes, right? So let's begin by opening the meeting at 7:01. Welcome, everybody, and let's start with introductions. We have a new person with us, so we won't make you feel uncomfortable. We'll start first. How's that? So my name is Dan Hayes. I'm currently the chair of the school committee, but this evening we'll reorganize. I have 3 kids that went through the Shutesbury Elementary School. I live on Wendell Road, and my family has been in town since 1913. All right, Julie, you want to go next?
Sure. I'm Julie. I'm your former neighbor. So Jen and I know each other pretty well. I have 3 kids. One is in the high school and just finished 9th grade today. And the other 2 are in 4th grade. And how did that happen? And I've been in Shutesbury since about 1 year before Mo. So I would say that's about 16 years.
Caitlin.
So I'm Caitlin Sheridan. I work for Irving Union 28 schools. So I'm the director of finance and operations. I don't live in Shutesbury, but it seems very lovely. And I drive through there all the time now, and no cell phone service, and it's fine. I just plan ahead, make sure my podcast is downloaded. But I've been in this role since the beginning of January. So still kind of learning, and every day's been pretty great. Welcome.
Great. All right, Jen, how about you?
Hello, everybody. I'm so excited to be here. I'm Jen Taylor, and I have a 25-year-old and an 11-year-old, so I'm on both ends of the spectrum there. My 25-year-old went through 6th grade at Shutesbury Elementary and then went on to Amherst, and my youngest one is about to enter 6th grade now, so I'm excited to be part of the school committee. I've served in lots of other capacities, but this is my first time ever serving on school committee, so thank you.
Great. Thank you for stepping up, and welcome. Trevor.
Hi, everyone. I take the minutes for Shutesbury School Committee and for a couple of other school committees in Union 28. I live in Shutesbury's Colony, Wendell, and my 18-year-old he actually attended Leverett for a couple years, but he finished up at Swift River, which is the Wendell New Salem school. I can probably safely say that if Shutesbury had been doing school choice at the time that he was like in kindergarten, he would probably have gone to Shutesbury. But anyway, so he just graduated from Mahar Regional High School. And that's me. Thanks.
Congratulations. All right, Susie.
I'm Susie Mosier. I am the liaison from the Finance Committee to the School Committee. I've been in town since 1975, and my 2 sons went through the Shutesbury Amherst school system.
Thank you, Susie. And Steve, otherwise known as Shannon's dad.
Yes. My student graduated from Curry this year, which was very exciting.
Yeah.
And I've been on the 8th year of the school committee, and woohoo! All right. And I work for the highway department.
Congratulations on that graduation too. So the first item on the agenda is the reorganization of the committee. So what I will do as chair is I'm going to hand it over to Caitlin, and then Caitlin will basically work to have a chair elected, and then it will go back to the chair to go through the rest of the positions. Now, one of the things that I like to do that's a little bit different than most committees, I think it makes everybody more comfortable if people express a desire to be in a position. So instead of nominating people and then them saying, well, I really don't want to do it, or I can't, or whatever, I think it's kind of easier if people express a desire and then we go from there. So Caitlin, we'll hand it over to you.
I was unaware that I was doing this tonight.
Well, technically it needs to go over to the superintendent. You're in here for Jennifer, so
Okay.
I am no longer chair. It will be you, and then after there is an election of the chair, then that person will take over again.
Okay, so I just have to get through the election of the chair.
Yep, so you just need to ask who's interested in being chair.
Who's interested in being chair?
Read the script.
I'm willing to do it for one more year, but I do think that it would be really good to have someone sort of, work with me a little bit or learn it a little bit, just so they have a better understanding. I've been on the committee for a really long time. And so I really believe it's good when people learn the different positions so they feel comfortable. So it's the role and responsibility of the chair is really to execute the meeting. It's setting the agenda along with the superintendent. The chair and the superintendent are always willing to take requests from committee members. So it's really just executing the meeting. The chair also does write letters to the Our Town newsletter, kind of a hub, I guess I would say. But go ahead, Jen.
I might be interested in the future. I don't think it's a good idea for me to chair my first year, but down the line, definitely something I would think about. So if there's a mentorship type thing happening there, I'll put my name in the hat.
Yeah, and I also think that although one person is sort of designated the chair, I always feel like it's a team effort. Even tonight, Julie was the one that opened the meeting. It's important that all of us work together and share the duties and responsibilities. When I write a letter to the Our Town newsletter, I share it with the other members of the committee for their input, also for editing. So although I'm the chair and I represent the committee, I want to put the committee's best foot forward. So sharing information and working together, I think, is a good thing. So I'll work with all of you. So Caitlin, I'll take it back from you. Okay, the election process. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Now we have to vote.
Yes.
Okay. So now we need a nomination.
I nominate Dan Haynes to be chair of the school committee. Anyone want a second?
I'll second. Jennifer Taylor, second.
Caitlin, you need to ask all in favor.
All in favor.
Martell, aye.
Hayes, aye.
Taylor, aye.
Sullivan, aye.
Okay. Thank you, Caitlin, and everyone. Jen, one of the things that we do at these meetings that's a little bit different than when we meet in person is because it's a remote we do a roll call vote, which means that's why we say our name and I. Okay. All right. So the next position is, it's a little confusing because I did happen to glance at the website today. So Caitlin, maybe you can take this back. On the website at the Shutesbury School, it says vice chair. In the paperwork, it says secretary. It is the same position, so we just need to clarify what term we're going to use. And basically, that position is the person who is responsible for executing a meeting or whatever duties and responsibilities for the chair when the chair is not there. So in the same sense of asking people who are interested in that position, I knew that Bethany was not going to be able to attend tonight, so I did reach out to her, just asking her if she had interest in any of the positions. She did not show interest in the chair position, but she did show an interest in maintaining the position that she's currently in, which is vice chair or secretary, whatever we want to call it. But if there is anyone else interested, they should express their interest. Okay, do we have a nomination for Bethany as vice chair or secretary?
I'll nominate Bethany Rose for vice chair or secretary.
Okay, and a second. Jen.
Yeah, I'll second that. Taylor, second.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor? Hayes, aye.
Martell, I.
Taylor, I.
Sullivan, I.
All right, so we also need to select the representative to School Union 28. So sort of by default, the chair is one of the serving members, and we'd be looking for 2 other people to be representatives to School Union 28. So that's the larger, or the committee of the 5 towns, 4 schools. Who else would be interested in serving on that committee? Julie? And I didn't see, like I said, Bethany interested in that, but Jen, it might be a great way to sort of learn a little bit.
How much does it entail, if I can ask just quickly? I did look through the positions real quickly, but just want to see what the time commitment would look like on that realistically.
It's less often than our committee meetings, so it's doable.
I will do that. I will nominate, I can nominate
All right.
myself, but I will do that.
All right, so Steve, do you want to nominate both Julie and Jen as the other representative to School Union 28?
I nominate Julie and Jen as the other representatives to the Union 28 from the Shutesbury School Committee.
All right, and I'll second that. Any further discussion? All in favor? Hayes, aye.
Martell, I.
Taylor, I.
Sullivan, I.
Okay, and then what we will also do is just nominate Steve and Bethany as alternates to serve on School Union 28 if we're not able to be there. And that gives them the ability to vote. I will also mention that those meetings are open to everyone. So even if you are not a voting member or if you want to be another person there, if all 5 of us want to go, we can all attend the meetings. Only 3 of us can vote. Okay. So does someone want to nominate Steve and Bethany as alternates to School Union 28?
I nominate Steve and Bethany to the Union 28 as alternate representatives.
And I'll second that. All in favor? Hayes, aye.
Martell, I.
Taylor, I.
Sullivan, I.
Okay, so within School Union 28, there is a subcommittee of the Budget and Personnel Committee. So they sometimes look at things ahead of time to sort of work with administration to perhaps come up with maybe a policy or to talk about budgetary items, work with contract negotiations for the superintendent in particular. And so we would need one person to be on that committee, and it's generally one of the people who serves on School Union 28, so they have more familiarity of what's going on. So Julie or Jen, would either of you be interested in that? And they meet even less frequently. I don't even know if they met much last year at all.
I suppose I can do that if you are not up for that right now, Julie, and I totally understand, so.
I think maybe I'll punt to you. That's great.
Okay, okay. So
Okay.
I can do,
I'm sorry. And often those meetings meet sort of just before. So when we were meeting in person, you would meet and then that meeting would end and the next meeting would start. So it's not like you're going, when we met in person, you didn't have to go 2 nights out, so. All right, you want to nominate her, Julie?
Sure. I'll nominate Jen Taylor to be on Budget and Finance Subcommittee of Union 28,
Budget and Personnel, yeah.
Budget and Personnel.
And I'll second that. All in favor? Hayes, aye.
Martel, I.
Taylor, I.
Sullivan, I.
All right. We also need to elect a representative to the regional middle school and high school. That person currently is Steve. Are you interested in doing it again, Steve?
I will. I'm just, if anyone else wants to do it, they're welcome to, but I'll do it again.
Yeah, I was kind of looking towards you for a number of reasons, including, I think, kind of hearing both Julie and Jen, it seemed like I think they're going to be maxed out as it is, and Amherst does meet much more frequently. So if you're not looking for going to more meetings, you don't want to be on that one. And Steve, you've done a great job, so.
And they're longer too.
You've been there a long time, yeah.
That is not surprising. I nominate Steve Sullivan to be on the
Amherst Regional Middle and High School representative for the Shutesbury School Committee.
that thing.
Yes. All right, a second. Jen.
I second that nomination.
All right. All
Tars
in favor?
Taylor, second.
All in favor, Hayes, aye.
Martel, I.
Taylor, I.
Sullivan, I.
Okay, you guys are making this easy. Right, Trevor? All right. We also have the Shutesbury Policy Committee, and we're looking for at least 2 people to be representatives on that committee. Again, the more the merrier. And Bethany did express interest in that committee as well. Anyone else?
I'm willing to do that again.
Okay. Everyone good with that? All right. Jen, you want to make a motion for both Bethany and Julie to be on the Shutesbury Policy Committee?
I make a motion for Julie Martell and Bethany Rose to be on the Shutesbury Policy Committee.
Okay. And a second.
I will second.
All right. All in favor? Hayes, aye.
Martel, I.
Taylor, I.
Sullivan, I.
Okay. Capital Planning Committee. We're looking for a person to be a liaison between the school and the Capital Planning Committee. Steve is currently served in that capacity. And Steve, you are also on the Buildings Committee still, is that right? Okay. Are you still interested in being on serving on that committee?
Yeah, I'm happy to do those.
Okay. Anyone else have a real strong desire or interest in that? All right, making it easy. Let's hear a motion.
I'll make a motion for Steve Sullivan to join the Capital Planning Committee.
Okay. And a second, Julie?
I'll second.
All right, all in favor? Hayes, aye.
Martel, I.
Taylor, I.
Sullivan, I.
All right, and last is the representative to the Collaborative for Educational Services. Currently, I am the chair. I would ask to serve again, unless someone else has a strong interest. Okay. Anyone want a motion?
I'll nominate Dan Hayes to be on the collaborative.
And a second.
I'll second. Taylor second.
And all in favor? Hayes, aye.
Martel, I.
Taylor, I.
Sullivan, I.
All right, well, Susie?
Did somebody get on the joint supervisory committee?
Yes,
Oh,
It-
okay.
thank you. And Susie,
Mm-hmm.
if I screw up or make a mistake, please let me know.
Yeah, I didn't get
Because
that.
Trevor usually catches me when I go over an agenda item, so you're gonna have to compete.
Mhm.
So I do appreciate the ease at which we went through this process. Again, I really do think that it's a team and working together. I don't see your reason to fight. If anyone had a strong feeling about something, that's great. I am very happy that I'm on the collaborative. It is an area that's one of my passions, and I'll talk to that later. So,
Dan,
Next up.
Steve's got his hand up.
oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, I'm just curious. This is probably the time that we should see if anybody else wants to be the signer of the warrants for the upcoming year too. I mean, I'm happy to do it because I'm going by there all the time, but if someone else wants to do it, they can.
Yeah, that's true. That should be on that list. Caitlin, can you make a note? We should have the warrant subcommittee or whatever it's called. So why don't we have a motion? Currently, Steve signs the warrants, so particularly the payroll warrant, I think, has to be signed.
I move that Steve be the warrant signer in the future, as he has been in the past.
That's perfect. Jen, you want to second that?
I second. Taylor second.
Okay. All in favor, Hayes, aye?
Martel, I.
Taylor, I.
Sullivan, I.
Excellent. Public hearings. Okay. I just have a couple real quick things, just to remind everyone about a few things. Day on the Hill, that's where the Massachusetts Association of School Committees meets with representatives. In the past, we had gone to Beacon Hill and in person met with representatives to advocate for things that we feel strongly about. That will be Thursday, April 14th. Unfortunately, I think this year it will be virtual. Also, the Massachusetts Association of School Committees Summer Institute is coming up. There's both a Friday and Saturday workshops. If you didn't, you probably will get something either in the mail or it'll be emailed to you, and I can follow up with Pam just to make sure that that gets emailed. I haven't seen it in an email yet. I'll also encourage everyone to, do some of the workshops or get involved. There's also, we are part of Division 5. So Division 5 is an area that encompasses our town and other towns that are near us. And this is a sort of a region of the Massachusetts Association of School Committees. There's an election of officers there too. I actually serve on the committee that moves candidates forward and votes. I also do attend the Division 5 meetings. There were 2 in the last few months, both held at Smith Vocational. The last one was really about advocacy and how to get messaging across to legislators. So it's just a good way to learn how to do things and what to do. It's also good and important to sort of network and sometimes when you meet other people, you find that they may be having similar problems, and maybe they've gone through something where you can learn from that. That said, also, there is a conference on Cape Cod in November. This is for all school committee members throughout the state of Massachusetts. It's, I think, 4 days or something like that on Cape Cod, and they talk about lots of different things, including voting on legislative priorities. So I think some of the legislative priorities that came through recently are, well, there's a list of them, but things such as the Student Opportunity Act, full funding for regional transportation. But when you go to those conferences, even when there are some of these agenda items on there, people like me will advocate for not only regional transportation reimbursement or funding, but transportation for all school districts. We're not a region, so you know, so there's different ways that you can advocate. That, and some of you may have gotten mail on that too. That conference will be in November 2nd through 5th. It will be in person this year. I think last year was sort of a hybrid. There was some in person. I did attend last year. The year before, I may have been virtual. So I'm not sure if anyone knows their schedule, whether they would like to go. I think that if anyone, and honestly, I would say if probably all of us wanted to go, we could figure something out where funds can be, Caitlin will just find the funds. So we'll figure that out. But there is a early bird deadline for anyone who knows that they want to go, and I do want to go. So I will ask if Pam can sign me up. This year I've been at the collaborative active with the Massachusetts Organization for Educational Collaboratives. It's called MOEC. I feel that their presence at the conference has been lacking. So I think it's something that I've been working on at our division level with Massachusetts Association of School Committees, as well as with MOEC, because at the conference you have MASS, MASC, and I want to see MOEC. These are the three organizations that are here in the state. I've talked to the executive director who was very interested in that. So one of the reasons why I want to be there in attendance, I in the past have spoken as part of the collaborative or been a part of a team. I will also, you'll probably have picked up from previous meetings, but later tonight as well. I do think that the collaboratives are a great way for helping smaller school districts. So that is a passion. So is the committee all right with me signing up? And if anyone else is interested later on, we'll have to just work it out. We'll see what funds are available. And, you know, even for myself, I mean, I pay for my transportation. I only get a couple of the meals because they're, to me, kind of expensive. So I think we can work that out. Yes, Jen.
I would definitely be interested in attending as well, so we can figure that out.
Great.
I think I might be too,
Great.
but I have to double check that that's not during UMass homecoming.
Yep. So Caitlin, we have some people that are interested in going. I'm just letting you know as we get closer to the time, we'll be looking at, you know, what funds are available. MASC also does have the ability to help districts who maybe find themselves not being able to support all people going or whatever. And also within Division 5, I think what we've found is oftentimes when people go to this conference, it's intimidating. You know, you go there, you don't really know what to do. You walk into a big room, you don't know where to sit. You go to sit at a table and they're like, oh no, that chair's saved. And then you have to go to the next table, like kind of looking around. So in Division 5, one of the things we're trying to do is help pair people up. Not like you have to stay in the same room, but someone that you can meet there, someone who you can at least sit at lunch with and help you navigate where you're going or what you can do or how to get an extra free drink card or something. So we'll keep you posted on that too for anyone who is interested. And I look at this is professional development for us as school committee members. This is a way for us to learn. It's also a way for us to be active in pushing forward legislative agendas. And, you know, we make a difference. You know, the Small Rural Schools Commission, that was all done locally by people who saw the need, and now there's funding that comes in that through that source. So it's important. All right.
Also, Dan, I will also say, Caitlin, that I have a big old van that I'm happy to caravan everyone in. So if that's helpful.
Yeah, and we can look at like all of that, but I think it is a very interesting conference. There's lots of different workshops. You can pick and choose what you want to go to, what you want to learn about. It could be Chapter 70 funding, how to do a superintendent evaluation, all kinds of things. And so I have found that it's been really helpful. In addition to, you know, sitting next to someone at lunch who comes from a different district and just asking them a little bit about, you know, what are their challenges, or, and a lot of these people, as you learn about what the Massachusetts Association of School Committee Executive Committee up in the Boston area, what they can do for us. It's good. I do reach out to them with questions, even when with COVID. I reached out to them just looking at memorandums of agreement and understanding with teachers unions, because I wanted to know ahead of time, well, what are the pitfalls that other communities are seeing? And Amherst, for example, I think, you know, when they did theirs was a little short-sighted. So, you know, we can learn from each other. And to me, I always feel like I'm not the brightest bulb on the marquee, but I feel it's important to try to learn from others, see what they're doing, because there's lots of people with a lot of experience, a lot of talent, and so it's a good resource. Okay.
I have to say, I just went to the Massachusetts Association of School Business Officials conference on the Cape last month, and before that, I used to go to MAVA, Massachusetts Association of Vocational Administrators. Yeah, I think that's right. MAVA before that as a teacher in a vocational school, and those experiences are really important for the information you get that are specifically directed to you and your role, and also just getting to know the other people in that role, especially locally, that you can kind of tap into for information, questions, and just get some relationships with people kind of face to face. So I am in big support of anyone that wants to go.
Great. You will sometimes get roped into things that you would never expect. Currently, I serve on a school committee for regions, which I thought, I don't know why I'm on this committee. I think they just needed somebody on there. But it was interesting because one of the things that they were challenging with, was fluctuations in the budget. And they were coming up with all of these really amazing remedies. And then I said, oh, well, we do a 5-year rolling average. And they were all like, really? How does that work? So I'm like, oh, all right, well, I guess maybe we all have something to share. So I served there, and I did a few years ago serve on a commission looking at transportation issues in the state of Massachusetts, and we reported to Governor Baker. So that was a pretty interesting thing. And I represented all the school committee members in Massachusetts, which again, I don't know how they picked me. My guess is nobody else wanted do it. So anything else for public hearings? All right. Well, thank you all. And Caitlin, thanks for the support with, looking at that. I think it is important. All right. The agenda and perpetual calendar, it looks like pretty much we're all on target with everything. So we'll just move on to warrants and gifts. Steve.
All right. I have 2 payroll and 2 others. So on dated, this is number 324, dated May 30th, 2022, in the amount of $85,600.55. And payroll warrant number 325, dated June 13th, 2022, in the total amount of $84,768.44. And then I have warrant number 3024 from May 16th, 2022, in the amount of $19,082.62. And the last one is number 3025 from May 31st, 2022, in the amount of $17,045.45.
Trevor, you have all those?
Yes, the 3, so Caitlin sent these to me. The 3024 was also reported in the previous set of minutes. So I think we're good.
I
Yeah.
figured, so usually I don't give future warrants, but since we're not meeting again for a while, I sent that one off to Trevor.
Great, thank you. And so that just let the record show that warrants have been submitted. Thank you. All right, do we have a motion to approve the minutes from May 19th?
I move to approve the minutes for May 19th.
Okay, and a second.
Taylor, second.
Okay. And Jen, just so you know, even though you weren't at that meeting, this is really a formality of putting this into the record. So, you vote as you please, but so all in favor, Hayes, aye.
Martell, aye.
Taylor, I.
Sullivan, aye.
Great, thank you.
Dan,
Done?
before we move on, can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
Admittedly, we hopped right over the perpetual calendar and I have no idea if we have a meeting planned for September or do we know when the next meeting is?
I think we're going to talk about that a little later. And Caitlin, did they give you anything on meeting schedules?
No, I think there was there a schedule in the meeting materials sent by Pam?
I'll double check. I don't remember. Do you see it? Julie, you're checking?
I'm gonna check right now, yeah.
Okay, good. So Julie, just so you know, the perpetual calendar is sort of a calendar that helps to know when the Our Town newsletter is coming, or about when the superintendent evaluation should be done. So it really wouldn't have those kind of meetings, but it might have things like town meeting. Jen?
Sorry, before we move on, just wanted to also bring up about the summer workshops. I am assuming we're going to get emails about that with all of the details, but just wanted to double check that that'll go out to all of us.
Yeah, the MASC Summer Institute stuff. Yeah, I will follow up with that because I did get something in the mail, but generally I see something in the mail and emailed. I haven't received anything in an email, so I will send this out. And my guess is Pam will forward something to you because she'll get it as well. But I'd rather you have too much than missing something. All right. Julie, did you find anything there?
I'm not seeing anything.
Okay. So.
Hold on, there's a hole.
Okay.
Oh, hold on one second.
Susie.
On this agenda, under K, it has Shutesbury School Committee Thursday, September 15th, along with the policy committee.
Oh, I see that.
Is
Yep.
that gonna be it?
I see it. Yep, you're right.
That's on the agenda, right? But
Mhm.
there was nothing in the packet on the meeting schedule, is there? Okay. So we are going to be coming to that. So let's hold off for a second on that. And we'll come back to unfinished business and updates. Steve should be back in a moment. Hopefully he can give us an update, but just so that the rest of the committee is also aware, I did receive a letter from the town, and they're looking to use ARPA funds for the school roof. So I did respond. I had, or Steve was included in that because he's on capital planning and buildings committee. Basically, the town has all of the information. We use that information to apply for funds from the Massachusetts School Building Authority. I did ask if we needed to attend the meeting. I haven't heard back, but I was under the impression that we didn't need to be at the meeting because basically they have already voted that if they're given those funds will be used. So I don't think we need to plead our case because I think they know our case because the roof is leaking and it's been talked about for a long time. That meeting is going to be on July 5th if anyone is interested in attending. But again, I do think they're pretty familiar. But Susie, you have anything to say on that?
No, I just wondered if you knew what the state's decision, the MSBA decision was. Has it come out yet?
Oh, Steve's got his hand up. Go ahead, Steve.
Oh yeah, I forgot you were there too, but no, they're dragging it out till late July or August this year, where usually by May.
And previous to that, I did attend a meeting. Maybe Steve, you were there too. Caitlin, I think you were there too. And that was an interesting meeting with the people from, I always say people from Boston, but from that end of the state, and talking about the process. And, there's a limited amount of money. There's lots of people that apply and they said it's the hardest job giving away the money because they realize that there's so much of a need and everyone needs it and they've got to make the tough decisions about who gets it. So, but I also found it was very interesting, and Caitlin, I'm not sure what you thought, but I felt like they were very knowledgeable, understanding, respectful. They had processes in place. So these decisions that are being made, sometimes it feels like they don't know what the heck they're doing, but they do. It's just they're limited with funds in particular. So, but it was nice to actually see that person at the other end and kind of hear them, because then you realize like, okay, it's just not enough money, but it's not like it's, but at that meeting, and I know I mentioned it before, I did think that when Jackie brought up small and rural school districts, and then Jennifer sort of really elaborated on that, I could see something in that person's face and eyes, sort of like an express understanding or appreciation or epiphany that, oh, okay, right, they don't have the tax base that we do. So it was, again, it's important to sometimes advocate again. And I thought they did a good job. So Steve, do we have any updates on anything on capital projects, the roof in particular?
No, the roof, we're just waiting to hear back from our professional of what we need and what it's going to cost.
Okay.
But other than that, no, that was the only one.
Okay. And I know that we've talked about other capital needs after that once the roof is fixed, which hopefully they'll also address some of the other issues like the gutters that'll divert water in a different direction. We can then look at the siding and other things. So, okay. Any questions on capital projects or? Okay. New business. Discussion of school choice funds. Caitlin, do you have anything to talk about that?
I don't. I mean, I can answer questions about school choice funds and provide some insight into it, but I'm probably not the one to open the discussion.
Okay, so we will table that to a future meeting. And
Can I-
Caitlin, oh,
The reason we put this on there was because I had made the suggestion at a meeting maybe 3 or 4 months ago that we give the custodians a little pot of money that was under Jackie's jurisdiction to do tree work and things, things that are out of Matt's regular budget. And I'd just like to ask if we could give him a little bit for the summer.
Steve, wasn't there also a conversation about just painting over the summer as well?
well, so this discussion is about school choice funds and how they're used. It's a bigger discussion. This is coming from concerns about, how do we use that money? How much does it grow to? So what we're looking for is really for administration. So Caitlin, for you and Jackie and Jennifer to really come up with a plan or proposal on the best ways of using that money, or you use a certain amount of money, keeping a sound base, or, different towns do things differently. I know Leverett has school choice funds and they're used differently than Pelham, for example. So, so I think that's where this conversation has really come from. So Julie, before I come to you, I'm going to go to Jen. Because your hand was up.
Thank you. Yeah. So just wondering, I know during the pandemic, the rules changed a little bit with school choice, and we lost a lot of students to homeschooling, mine including at different points. And so I personally have a friend who was denied school choice into 5th grade, and I don't know what Jackie's decision, what that was based on. I don't even want to speculate there at all. But just wondering, like, what the numbers look like per grade right now, and how those, just very quickly, briefly, how those decisions are made and what they're based on.
So school choice is, we get a little bit amount of money for every student that comes in. And I can't speak for Jackie, but I can tell you that what I've learned from all the principals is that they have to be very mindful of accepting students in to fill vacancies in the classroom, but really not spending any more money than would have been spent to serve the students that were already in there. So if you have a classroom that has 14 students in it, and that you can comfortably have 3 more students, and you have to be careful because sometimes kids come in over the summer and you don't want all of a sudden be stuck with, oh no, we have 25 kids and we're probably now talking about splitting the classroom up and hiring an extra teacher. And why did we do school choice? Because we only got 15,000 for those 3 kids, and now we're spending 70 on a new teacher. So there's a lot of careful thinking about how many slots are open per grade. So one of my principals, not Jackie, caps it at 18. If she knows she has 15, she'll go up to 18, because that way you can not comfortably, but you can have a couple extra kids that come over the summer that aren't going to tip you into a second classroom. So that's sort of the thinking behind the number of students, the number of openings per grade for school choice.
Right, and I think it's even a little bit more complicated than just the number. It's looking at what grade. So the younger, earlier grades, I think it's a easier transition. Older grades are a little bit more difficult. Preferences or priorities to siblings. It is pretty complicated.
And the needs of the class. If you have a class of kids that have 15 and there's a significant need there, and that you don't want to voluntarily grow that class at all, you don't have any slots in there. So it's really up to the discretion of the principal. And
thank you so much.
The needs. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that pretty much answers most of my question. How many spots do we have currently, if I can ask, or we don't have to discuss it now either, but just if it's possible to find that out and just kind of.
I don't have that in front of me. I think, did we vote a month or 2 ago on how many seats were available per grade? I know Jack usually opens with just the early grades.
We vote on being a school of choice, and administration really those decisions on how many students, what grades, and such. All right, Steve's has his hand up, and then we can go talk a little more.
Yeah, Jen, you should really talk to Jackie, because I'm against school choice, but I vote for it. And I vote against it at the region and I vote for it here because Jackie has a really good plan set in place where I believe that she doesn't, once they hit third grade, that she really does, unless it's a sibling or it's a staff member, she really tries to keep the school choice entering in the lower grades in case of move-ins. But you should talk to Jackie because she really does. She's got this thing down.
Jackie's also very cautious of if we needed to stop school choice and we're not getting any more revenue from that, that it's not going to impact the Shutesbury, the kids that live in Shutesbury, and it's not going to take any resources away from them. That's why we keep school choice outside of the general budget. So that we have positions, there's 1-year positions that if all of a sudden we're phasing out these school choice kids, it's not going to have an impact on the other ones.
But ultimately, I think what this item on the agenda is really is about the discussion of how are we going to effectively use those funds in a way that doesn't harm, the school itself and helps to support education or whatever within the school. So Caitlin, if you can, I know Jennifer's out, but at some point we'd like to bring this back and have a proposal or a discussion about this, and then the school committee can have some guidelines as to how best to use these funds to support the school. Okay. All right. So the proposed school meeting schedule. So I believe the reason why this is on here is because we have a new committee member, and we always try to look at days of the week, times. We traditionally meet, I think it's every third Thursday of the month. Is that how it falls, Julie? I think it's every third Thursday of the month. And usually it's 7 o'clock.
I hate to be a pain. Unfortunately, my husband is a firefighter here in town, and they also do drill on Thursdays at 7. So when we go back to in person, it may pose an issue. Although at this point, I mean, our daughter is 11, so I don't generally leave her home. But if I'm around the corner and it's an hour, it's possible. So it's just
Jen, you can drop her off at my house and we'll go up. They can watch Bella.
She'd love that.
Yeah. The girls would too.
I'm not sure about Jay though.
So do you want to keep it as it is for now? And if we need to make a change in the fall, we can do that?
If this is what works for everyone, certainly. I don't want it to change totally on my behalf. But if there's an opportunity to shift it, that would be great.
Okay, and of course, if and when we do that, we obviously have to be in concert with the superintendent to make sure that Jennifer is available. Okay, so we can always revisit this, but at this point, we'll keep the meetings every third Thursday of the month, beginning at 7, with policy beginning, I think, before that. I know that they're still looking at the open meeting law and remote meetings and all of that. So what the future brings, I don't know. All right, graffiti and surveillance. I know we did receive something from Jackie on that. Caitlin, do you have anything to report on?
I don't have anything to report. I think, we all saw the pictures and the email, and it's pretty heartbreaking when something like that happens to your school. I did talk with Jackie today, and I am going to request later for transfer funds from school choice to help cover some cost of security cameras. But that can come later. We can vote on it.
So I believe wholeheartedly that it is time for us to have cameras for a number of reasons. Obviously, for some of the horrific things that we have seen happening in schools. Also for honestly for informational purposes. I have a small business. I can go on my phone and look at the different cameras. I have them just outside the building, not inside. So I can see what's going on at any moment. And I believe that's an advantage if you're someone in a school setting, for example, and you want to see what's going on, you can use your phone. I did reach out to the security company that we use. Caitlin, if you want to take this information back, it's Hackworth. They also do the security cameras for Northampton School, East Hampton School. She honestly was listing them so quickly, I didn't keep up. Those two were sort of big enough for me to think like, okay, so they do schools. I did look at some of the information that was provided about the Swift River School. And honestly, I thought those prices seemed really high. Now, maybe with schools, it's a different type of security system. I'm not sure. Maybe the maintenance is much more robust than what I see. But my recommendation would be, of course, to maybe have a couple different companies come in and then, see who's providing the best quality services, check on reputations, and then maybe compare pricing. So I personally totally support the use of school choice funds to do whatever administration feels is necessary in this area. It's also convenient. For example, I know on Mother's Day, I had the phone call about noises happening at the school. It would have been nice to have gone on my phone just to see like what's going on, and I would have seen a lawnmower, but that's always a nice thing. So, Caitlin, she didn't want to vote or anything that you know of, or?
Yeah, so I think on the agenda is transfers. I don't have any other transfers besides that one, so this would be the only one that would be voted, and it's small. Jackie thinks that there's some money from the town, and they will only need to transfer $1,200 from. I'm gonna double check. Hold on, I'm looking at the email right now. She wants approval to transfer $1,200 to school choice funds if needed for the cameras. So from school choice to the general fund for $1,200.
Okay, so before someone makes a motion, I would suggest that we maybe give a higher limit or a higher amount because we may not have the ability, or it may be difficult to re-meet. This is school choice funds. I think it's an excellent use of these funds. I think I would say up to $5,000. So I'll make a motion that we approve the transfer of money from school choice into the general account of up to $5,000 for improved security measures that may include cameras.
I'll second that.
Okay, so before we vote, is there further discussion on that?
Yeah, I just want to, Caitlin, that town money isn't really town money. It's $1,000 that was encumbered 5-6 years ago, $1,000 that we were going to use for cameras, and it was so expensive at that point that we didn't, but the money is sitting there.
All right, thank you for clarifying.
Yeah. And okay, all in favor? There was a second, right? I'm sorry. Okay, thanks. All in favor, Hayes, aye.
Taylor, I.
Martell, I.
Sullivan, I.
Great. And I am happy that they were able to find the people or the young people that did this, and hopefully it's a good lesson, and we can hopefully all learn something from it and be better people because of it. All right, reports. Superintendent's report. Anything, Caitlin?
Was it part of the meeting materials? She usually sends a superintendent's report. Do you want me to read it or can we?
No,
just look
anything
at
else
our
to
own?
add or?
I don't think so. Yeah, just like, Jen should be back pretty soon and, we're all excited to have the full team back together again.
Great. And
You know,
Trevor,
so I don't have to, run elections or anything in the future. So.
and Trevor, do you have a copy of that superintendent's report?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so Susie and Kristen, I think, is on here too. That will be part of the record. So if you have any questions, it'll be part of the minutes of the meeting. I think it was just reporting out on what's going on. All right, we do have the Director of Finance and Operations, Caitlin, here.
I'm here. It's a really busy time right now. This is my first closure of the fiscal year and getting ready for the next fiscal year. So we set up the, in Budget Sense, the software we use to keep track of the budget. We have set up FY23 and put all of the Shutesbury town meeting approved values for FY23 into the budget. So it is ready to go. And the all of our clerical staff over the 4 schools have access to it at this point, and we're starting to think about kind of where when they're going to be able to enter requisitions and purchase things, but really a lot of the attention's on closing out FY22. And Shutesbury is very close on coming into the end of the year. We had some high plant and operations expenses, some plumbing and heating expenses, and Jackie's been phenomenal about keeping an eye on each one of those lines and each invoice that comes in and making sure that we're going to come in the black. So we met Jackie and Laura Felton, the school receptionist, and Jesselyn Zakowski, the HR payroll person in my office. And Jess and I drove to Shutesbury last week and met with Laura and Jackie and really looked at trying to clean up before the end of the year. So things like we had a position that is shared, but Shutesbury pays payroll for it, but other towns reimburse, and it was being reimbursed the town, but it hadn't been recorded into Budget Sense. So we're just sort of freeing up some of these encumbrances and some of these things one by one. And it looks like we should be okay. And we're going to be, we will not have a deficit, but it has been a little bit stressful in Shutesbury getting close to the end. But it's, you're lucky to have Jackie as your principal because she keeps as close an eye on the budget that I do. So, and it was really nice to, we talked about setting up a Google Meet and going over this with the 4 of us, and let's just get together. Let's kind of have a meeting face to face and sit down with the computer and all of the reports. So it was really great to visit Shutesbury and meet and work on these things together. And we're still talking and still trying to make sure that there aren't going to be any last minute concerns. And we've really, like, at this point, any purchases that the schools need to do, we're running out of time for this fiscal year. We can't be putting stuff in and then we're going to last couple days and seeing. So we've asked all of the schools to refrain from additional purchases, especially because if you're making a purchase now, it's probably for next year anyway. So it should go into FY23. So that's been my life the last couple of weeks, is trying to wrap up this fiscal year. Any questions?
Any changes or updates on the food service director's position? I know we had talked a little bit about some of the requirements and.
So food service, the whole program went through a review. We have cleared, we passed, we're checked off, and I think we have a couple years before the next one. There are some things that we will need to kind of look at doing in the future, meeting kind of more often, reconciling, and some stuff on there. And also, but But that is one hurdle that we've jumped past. And food service looks like we've got some suggestions, but we have gotten past the review.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, any other questions for Caitlin? Okay. Any end of year transfer vote at this point or not yet?
No, so our food service is fine. Our student activity lines look okay. Everything looks all right at this point. It was just moving a little bit of money for the cameras, but I was surprised we don't have any other transfers to do.
Great, glad to hear it. All right, principal's report was also sent to us electronically. Again, just reporting out on activities in the school that have been going on, step updates and assemblies, and sort of where we are with the graffiti. So we've talked about that. And Trevor, you have a copy of that as well? Great. Amherst Pelham Representatives Report.
Yeah, we met just once since we last met, and the superintendent's evaluation was a big piece of that. And this year, instead of going through the 80-page PowerPoint with us, it's been, all of his information's been posted on the ARP's website, and anyone who wants to view it can go see all of his artifacts. And other than that, there's nothing really going on.
Are you in contract negotiations with your teachers?
Oh, that's been going on for months, and that their asks were outrageous, and they knew going in what we had to offer, and so they're going nowhere.
Well, I will say that it was reported out incorrectly that the collaborative had given a 7% COLA. We did get that information from Amherst. That's incorrect. It is 2%. Just wanted to make sure I'm clear. Okay.
Yeah, they were looking for 7 to 9% increases, and we have 2.5 to give everyone.
Mm-hmm. Right. So it was 2%. I'm not taking a side. I just want to make sure that information is clear. Okay. Anything else? How is the fields coming? And I see fundraising.
The Amherst CPA, they threw $800,000 at the field fundraising, but that's only if it goes to the moving of the field. But if it's just resurfacing the track, that money will be retracted. And fundraising has just started in earnest now, and they have till January 16th to raise the 2.2 million, or we'll just have to resurface the track.
Okay, thank you. Union 28, I don't think we have anything to report. Do we?
It was the fastest meeting in history.
Oh, correct. Thank you. That reminds me. So Union 28 did take a vote, and it was to create the 5-year rolling average within Union 28 to sort of help with our own fluctuations in the budget. And that was a unanimous vote. Thank you for the reminder. See, this is what I mean about being a team, okay? Collaborative. So we have not had a meeting since our last meeting, but one of the things that gives me a lot of joy, I do attend the graduation ceremonies. So one was at Heck Academy. There were 5 students graduating. The first student to come down the aisle was carrying his baby, and the first in his family to graduate high school. Hearing some of the students, their stories is remarkable. It's great to have a school that offers programs and services to students to help them through the high school years and to succeed. I also attended Mount Tom Academy. Mount Tom Academy is at Holyoke Community College, and that is a school for students who they don't have special needs, but they, for one reason or another, find their high school that they're unable to attend. In years past, it could be some students who were very, suicidal. This year, one of the student speakers was a young woman who had played a lot of sports and suffered from concussions. So again, it's wonderful to see. There were a total of, I think, also 5 students graduating from Mount Tom Academy. There were 3 present that day. And again, hearing their stories was incredible. And next week, I'll attend a graduation ceremony for students from the Department of Youth Services program. So these are students who have been incarcerated, and the collaborative provides educational services throughout the state for the incarcerated youth and students with special education in institutional settings. And I know in years past, again, it's always emotional to see. It's very rewarding. It also shows the importance of being on boards and committees. There was a point several years ago where the administration had recommended to close Mount Tom Academy because of financial reasons, and the board voted unanimously, and there's 37 board members. I don't think they were all in attendance at that meeting, but we voted unanimously to keep the school open, and that was several years ago. So to me, I also take pride and satisfaction in seeing a program that we've kept. And when you see these students who talk about their experiences, and their families are crying because they know that these students couldn't make it anywhere else. And through the efforts of their teachers with hard work and support from their families, the young woman who spoke actually applied and has been accepted to a nursing program. She's got scholarship money. So again, it's incredible. So the collaborative does offer lots of different services, professional development, licensure, all kinds of things. So it's always a good resource. All right, and I know I did ask them a little bit about, there was a possible special needs student in Shutesbury, and the collaborative is now looking at also getting services for elementary level students. So again, the collaborative is there to serve member districts, to help them with supporting their needs, and that might be an area that we might have to access in the future. So that's all for that. All right, policy review. Second reading and first vote on AC, non-discrimination policy, including harassment and retaliation. Do we have a motion to approve that policy?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay. A second.
I'll second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor? Hayes, aye.
Martell, I.
Taylor, I.
Sullivan, I.
Okay. Motion to approve second reading, first vote on ACAB, sexual harassment. And if I could just interrupt one thing real quickly. Sometimes you can just say so moved and you don't have to repeat it all. If that's easier. Someone
So
want to say,
moved.
there we go. All right, and a second.
I'll second.
Okay, and a motion for the second reading, first vote on JICK, harassment of students.
I just had a quick comment about that.
Yep.
I just thought it was funny that the document was named harassment of students. Just, it might be good to rename it harassment policy or student harassment policy, maybe just so that we don't have a document floating around out there that says, Shutesbury School Committee harassment
Passive
of students.
Harassment of students.
But,
Jen?
it was just my thought when I saw the document.
Jen, I agree. I think that maybe it would sound better. Student harassment policy. So
Well,
Trevor, do you amend the policies and send that to Pam, or no, Caitlin, can you take that? Because that'll go to Jennifer and Pam. So that would be an amendment to the policy. And of course, if they feel differently, we can discuss that at the next one, because it'll be the second vote. Okay. So as amended, who seconded that? Julie, right? Are you all right with that?
Mhm.
Okay, so your second will stand. All right, all in favor as amended? Hayes, aye.
Taylor, I.
Martel, aye.
Sullivan, I.
Okay. So currently our next meeting is scheduled for Thursday, September 15th. For policy at 6:30 and for the regular school committee at 7 o'clock. If anything changes, if there is any need or reason for us to convene earlier, obviously we will do what we need to do a doodle poll or communicate that information in advance. Okay.
I would also like to say that there was an amazingly joyous parade of sixth graders graduating tonight, and it was so lovely to see. My kids went out there banging on drums and with a trumpet and a guitar and a kayak and had fun cheering them on.
Oh, nice, nice. Very nice. All right. And joint supervisor committee will be decided before September, and I think that's it. Is there anything else?
Thank you, Trevor.
Thank you, Trevor.
Thanks,
Jen,
Trevor.
Jen, do you go by Jen
Thanks,
or
guys.
Jennifer?
I do go by Jen.
Okay, so Jen, Trevor takes the best minutes.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right, so hearing nothing else, I will say this meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank
You have a nice
you.
day.
Good
Good
night.
night. Welcome, Jen.
Thank you.